Hey y'all, it's Dalanie.
This is Katie. Welcome to Classically Black Podcast.
Where we talk all things classical music and being black in the profession.
With trap beats playing in the background. How you doing, sis? Y'all, this is our third time doing this.
They put our business out there.
So she don't want to tell me. We want to start. We good. We had a good week. Like, what? It's our third time starting the episode. I don't want to hear about your woes again. It's like,
wow. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
In case y'all care. Obviously, Katie don't. This podcast was a mistake. I'm just kidding.
Wow. I was playing, sis.
In case y'all care, I'm in my feelings in the practice room all day today. Because ain't nothing coming out. Just got so much stuff to learn and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the weirdest thing. I feel like I don't learn new repertoire like often enough for me to remember what I do to get it under my fingers. Because now I'm trying to get so much stuff just under my fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just a bare minimum before I start adding all that extra junk.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not happening because I'm trying to, like, it's a lot.
You have a lot to learn, especially, like, I totally get that. And it's like when you have, like, big things to learn. Like, I'm sweating. Pre-screenings are due. I'm still figuring out Bartok, just trying to get it under my fingers by the end of this month so I can, like, add music to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get where you're coming from. You be in your feelings sweating.
Right.
It's supposed to be, I don't know, if you feel like the process gets easier. I mean, learning music does get easier for sure, but the level also gets higher. So It's like...
Meanwhile, I can't even find my practice journal. I need to find that.
You're so organized on practice journal. I'll be like, all right, girl, what we doing
organized today? Meanwhile, I can't put my finger on where it is. I'm organized within the journal, but don't matter whether or not the journal organized if I don't know where it is.
Shut up.
What?
I go to practice. I'm like, all right, sis. So, what are we doing? And what I noticed recently for me is like, I'll be like, all right, I bet we're gonna do this, and this, right? 4 hours pass. I'm like, okay, one thing. I hate. We cannot spend 4 hours on one thing. Right. It'll be 4 hours on one page. Like, okay, Concerto 20 pages. It's not 20 pages, but you know.
Right. I'm just trying to make it through.
Listen, we gonna make it, and we gonna look back and be like, wow, we did that, or it was done. But most likely, hopefully the former. Hopefully the former.
Right. Hopefully I can live outside your house in a box.
Are you done? It's too late for this. It's too late. You got news for us, sis?
Yes, ma'am. So today we're gonna talk about some fairly recent news. You know, it happened, it has passed, but still worth talking about. So as you may know, the Chicago Lyric Opera musicians went on strike recently. And basically they went on strike because management decided that they were going to cut costs. And they claimed that cutting costs was necessary for the opera company to survive because that there's less audience demand for a grand opera. But the musicians believe that that's going to cut the quality of the opera. Like, you know, if you're cutting musicians, you're cutting concerts and rehearsals and all that, then the quality of the opera is going to go down. And they're like, we're Lyric Opera Chicago. Like, you know, we have this reputation to uphold. So basically what the management was trying to do, they're trying to reduce the number of guaranteed work weeks for orchestra players by 2 weeks. And they're also trying to cut a couple of, looks like 5 full-time musicians, and stop making payments for radio broadcasts, that they said that they can't afford to present. So, you know, obviously when they're cutting full-time musicians, right, these people are depending on this money that comes from this job. Like,
especially you're talking about musicians that are like at the top of the top. I mean, like, you're in the Lyric Opera of Chicago.
Right. Yeah. They're like the strike has since ended. But it's really like disheartening to see that, especially when you're going into that field.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, this raises concerns. I'm like, they settled it, and like we're talking about like millions of dollars that they're talking about. But it's like we're going into this field, and we're so new and we're so young to it, and it's like they're cutting costs. We're talking about there's no demand for opera anymore, and and meanwhile at me, because that's exactly where I want to be. So it's just like a little scary to be like, what is classical music going to look like when I break into the field? And then, you know, the kids who just began playing their instruments, what is it going to look like for them as well? You know, it's a little scary for that.
Yeah. I think that, you know, I'm glad that the strike is over, but basically their concerns are that in order to have a world-class opera company, you have to have a world-class orchestra.
I agree.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, you're more into opera. I don't think
the junk is lit.
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if I've ever even played an opera.
You never played opera?
I don't know.
I think the first opera I played was La Boheme. The music was way too hard for me. But that's probably when I first fell in love with opera. I was like, nah, I gotta do like La Boheme.
Yeah, I don't think I would have remembered if I played like a full opera.
A full opera, you would have remembered.
I never played
because it's a lot. It's a lot of play. You literally play the entire time.
Yeah,
you play the entire time, and it's.
Oh, I've played. Oh yeah, I've played like Baroque opera.
Which one?
Oh, that was that one.
Talking about sis who kiss. Okay.
It's some Purcell opera. I played that, and I also played another like Michael Haydn.
Oh shoot!
Maybe it's not an opera. Maybe that was like just what? No, that wasn't an opera.
Are you talking about like off Broadway opera?
No.
I did not mean to come Purcell like that.
Nah, but I did play some Baroque opera from Purcell. But
and like I think that's when I talk to musicians like who are taking auditions right now, and I always ask them like, would you take opera audition? And they're like, no. I mean, if I had to, I would. Like, I'm just like, y'all really, but it's so taxing. Because imagine, like, one of the things they talked about in this article was they were cutting back to get ready for the ring cycle.
Call back to last episode.
They were getting ready for the ring cycle because, like, I mean, we already talked about that. It's like hours and hours and hours and hours of playing. So with the opera, it's like you play straight through. And you might have something like a Mozart opera where you kind of start and stop in between. But La Boheme, you like something like a Puccini opera. It's like straight through, like nonstop. I mean, I remember like one point, you know, when sis was dying, there was like no music. But it's like it's very taxing. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't have good technique, and you're in that situation, you don't know how to release your bow, you don't know how to whatever you need to do, you know, you're gonna have a very short career because it's all, you know, sis Wagner was over there with the double notes,
right?
But yeah, it's scary to think about that. They're talking about that there's no audience for opera. Yeah, I think this has been a conversation we've had for a long time, and people just understood it. Oh my god, if y'all love Love and Hip Hop New York, you will love Mozart.
All right,
you really
what? Hip Hop New York.
First of all, if you go back to like old school Love and Hip Hop with Remy Ma and Papoose, just watch the Marriage of Figaro. They're like similar. They are very similar.
Opera is dramatic as hell. It is.
It's literally a soap opera.
I'm not even finna lie. Like I like got a more or developed a better appreciation for opera after I took like music history. Because before I was like, I want opera, like, you know, because I don't like I don't care for vocal music. I don't really care for listening to people sing anyway. But opera, like, there's some stuff that I was like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Nah, opera.
But I can't sit through no opera.
And I'm talking about like good opera vocalists. I'm talking like Diana Damrau. Sis is sickening. When I tell you her, you gotta look up her rendition. It's not a rendition, what? Her recording. I don't know if it's really even recording either, but her performance. There we go. We got there. Right. The Queen of the Night aria from the Magic Flute. When I tell you, could hear the overtones. It's like ringing. It's like literally the most immaculate thing I've ever seen. When she had that like that crazy wig thing, I don't know what the headdress. She had like that sickening costume on. Like that's I think that video plus me playing La Boheme was like, nah, I have to do opera, like flat out, like it just has to happen.
Right, and it will, it shall.
And just because I want to do opera, like, respect my privacy at this time. Do not add me for the lyric opera viola audition because that's my privacy. I will not be taking it. But we'll get there someday.
Not sister. I just want to
you know why?
Just get into, I guess, like what they settled on, because you know the strike lasted 5 days, and they eventually reached a new labor agreement, and it did reduce their guaranteed weeks of work, and the size of the orchestra, so they had to compromise on both of those things, but it did increase their weekly salary. So, but I know them people that lost their full-time jobs.
Exactly.
What you know, it didn't specify. It says that it reduced the size of the orchestra, so that could mean they let go of part-time players, but I doubt it if they're increasing salary,
unless they're trying to up the sub list. All right.
And then I have a piece of positive news. Rare these days. It is rare these days. I was just scrolling on Facebook and seeing this new film that's coming out, or they're trying to get funding for this film called RAW film dash From Destitute to Doctorate, and it's about this homeless man. Well, he was a boy. He was homeless, and he grew up to become the first black man or black person in general to get a doctorate in music and tuba. I was like, oh, you out here,
like you tubaing, like for real, like you play tuba.
Yeah. Boom boom boom,
right, like bum bum bum.
Tuba. That's so annoying. Yeah, but this is crazy. I'm gonna read the overview of the film. It says Dr. Richard Antoine Wright, Richard Antoine White, which is what the RAW stands for in the name. It says was a homeless child in Baltimore who became the first African American to receive a doctorate of music in tuba. He's a professor now and also performs with the New Mexico Philharmonic. His remarkable journey shows what happens when grit collides with educators who refuse to give up. Now he's on a mission to help youth see that anything is possible with a little imagination. It's a message that kids in cities like Baltimore and everywhere need to hear. Listen, black excellence.
Like black excellence.
For real. Like, when I tell you, like, I watched the trailer, he's over here talking about there were nights when he had to imagine a warm blanket and imagine food in his stomach. And he went from that, now he doctor too.
Right.
Okay, Dr. White.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It just shows you, it goes to show like work ethic, but something also like finding the teachers who are willing to invest in you. Right. And it might not seem like, I think I said a couple episodes ago, I was like, I would not have been here without people who like took an interest in me. Right, and there are people out there who will take an interest in you. You just have to find them, and they'll also be drawn to. If you work hard and you want something, like those same teachers that took an interest in him, maybe they take an interest in somebody else. Right. So that just goes to show like how he really just put his best foot forward and just really went after it. Yeah, it's crazy.
For real, it's crazy. It's super inspiring. Like, I can't wait. So basically, they're trying to fund this project. They have a trailer out and everything, but they want some funding to finish filming. So I'm going to link the page where if you want to, there's a lot of information about it and the trailer and a lot of pictures and stuff. So if you can't donate, you could just check it out. But if you can donate, that would be great. Yeah. So. No, I'm excited to see this. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I hope they get the money they need. I'm gonna try to give too. I'm sure I'll try to sow into this project. I think it'll be really exciting, and also like representation of blackness and color in music.
All right. An intermission for us this week.
I do have a little activity again for us this week during our intermission. So we all have pieces that we're very fond of, pieces that we make emotional connections to over the time of being a musician. So I have some pieces that I want to ask you that have had a profound effect on your life in different ways. I gave Dalanie these questions or prompts before, just so that she's not coming off the dome with them, so you don't say something that you don't really mean or whatever. So the first one is, I'm looking for a piece that gets you hype from the opening bars. Like, you hear two measures, one measure, you're like, oh yeah, this is it. Here you go. She's in full Millie Rock.
Not in full Millie Rock. I mean, listen. There is a piece just like that. Got it all queued up.
Okay.
And I'm sure so many people will recognize this. It is Prokofiev's Romeo Juliet, number 13, Dance of the Nights. I specifically listened to LSO because it's just a bop. Like, hold on, y'all. Like,
now hold on, y'all.
Like, I got it queued up. Listen to this.
Hey.
What?
Yeah, it's good.
What?
That's a bob.
Like, no. When you hear that junk, you hear that come down, your neck all turned around. Like, oh, this what we doing?
Especially like that brass on the bottom. Boom, boom, boom. Like, oh nah, it goes. You know,
it goes.
Y'all know I don't stand for Prokofiev, but he did that. All right,
so let's move on. You coming for his neck.
Okay.
I don't stand Prokofiev though. Like, there's only a couple pieces because I don't know a lot of his rap. Yeah. So I don't stand him. But that junk.
I'll give you that. It's a bop. Yeah. I will give you that.
Most people are like, what? Mm-hmm. You know.
A piece that gets me hyped from the opening bars, Mahler 2, first movement. When I tell you that junk just make your ears go, wait, hold on.
Right.
And it's like, you know, I like to pipe up or whatever. I could be like a lot. So when he's like, I'm like, oh, this is what we doing? And then he goes, I'm like, oh, I tell you, I just sit up straight. I move my weave and I'm like, okay, say some more stuff. Like, right. That piece gets me excited from the jump. Like, it don't matter what mood I'm in. Like, I'm like, okay, we could do this. Like, let's go.
I've never played that piece, but I would love to play that. Like, in a bass section that's like 8 deep.
And you want it to be deep. Right. And you want that cello section deep. And that's all you need.
Oh my God. They should say, I'm telling you, like, your hearing might go, but if they were to sell like a orchestra seat that's right between the cellos and the basses, because now you got the brass over here, you between both of them, now your seat vibrating, like that's the best seat in the house.
And if your hearing goes, it's the last best thing you heard. Right. You better thank God.
At least you went out with a bang.
With a bang. Right. Okay. What is a piece that you'll never play again? You good over there?
I'm more than fine. Thank you so much.
He's depressed. That's all.
This piece makes my bones itch in the itchiest way possible. And I will not play it because I refuse to listen to it. But it's Farandole by Bizet. That's like that middle school orchestra piece that everybody had to learn,
so they can get you to do dotted 8/16. Yes. My students played that.
Terrible. I hate that.
But it will teach them.
It didn't teach me nothing.
It didn't?
I'm still playing the rhythms wrong. So.
Okay, triplet.
Right. I'm still playing them as triplets.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I don't love Farandole, and I don't love Bizet either. But
he's so dusty.
I don't know if he dusty, sis. Okay. Right.
Like what?
I feel like, and then a beat comes in.
You feel that jump? Like I feel like my throat tickling. Like I'm allergic to shellfish, y'all. I'd rather eat a whole platter.
Wow.
Okay, them asking me like, oh, Dalanie, we got this gig. It pays $1,000 an hour. We playing Farandole. All you gotta do is play Farandole. It's only 3 minutes long. I'm actually more than fine. My rent come in late this month. It's fine.
The podcast ends here, y'all. I'm gonna.
That junk so dusty. I do not like that piece at all. What about you, sis?
A piece that I will never play again is the Brook Romance. Now, I feel bad piping because this piece is absolutely gorgeous. I stand for Bruch. I stand for his violin concerto. I think he does. I'm like, sweetie, you're doing just fine. But this piece, I don't know. I played it in undergrad and it was fine. And every time I want to reapproach it, it's just like, I get a little nauseous. You know what I'm saying? And the problem with it is it's such a beautiful piece, but I cannot do it, and I will not do it ever again. Play the Brook Romance over it, like, and play it. Like, it's just like, it's beautiful. It's gonna be like, girl, you good? I'm like, I can't. I don't know why. on the edge.
What's wrong, sis?
It's so beautiful, but it's just like so nauseating.
This is such a pretty piece. What? Why don't you like this?
I can't even explain.
What?
I can't explain. I don't know. It's just like the process of learning it. I was also going through a vibrato rut at that time. Intonation was here, there, and in China. So it was just like, it was a struggle piece, and then it gets real in the middle. But that part is a little lit. That's probably the only thing that saves it. And then them raggedy double stops. I don't know. Nah, I'm going through it next. Okay, a piece you hear that you just gotta dance to. It don't matter. Like legs going up, throwing your back out.
The Nutcracker? You know I stand for Tchaikovsky.
I know you do. It's just funny that you turn up to that, because when you just saying that, I see all the little kids running out. Have you seen? Oh, you haven't seen the Nutcracker? No, so that part, that's like from the overture, right? Well, yeah. So all the little kids are coming, because it starts out with the Christmas party, right? Or the Nutcracker is presented, whatever. So all the little kids are running out with their little presents and coming downstairs, and all the guests are coming over, and you twerking on the side. That's
exactly what I'm doing. That John goes. Specifically, my favorite part of the Nutcracker is the Act 2 to the Nutcracker Suite. But the whole thing really goes.
But the Nutcracker's good.
Oh my god! Like the Act 2. Like, why every movement gotta be a bob? You can take your foot off our neck once.
Sis was writing music. We'll get to Tchaikovsky later, but like he was doing a thing.
Right. He was out here. What about you?
Piece that I gotta dance to, March of the Scaffold. Like, I don't. Symphony Fantastique is good, right? And I get it. It's programmatic, whatever. We talked about it before. But March of the Scaffold, every time I hear it, I'm just like, you have it?
I don't have it.
Let me pull it up. Right there, when that junk come in. Because you know what it reminds me of? I was telling Dalanie earlier. It reminds me of that song, Don't Dance, we just pull up our pants, saying, do the rock away. Hey, now lean back. Hey. Lean. It sounds just like that. Bum, it just like make your shoulders start to, like, you know what I'm saying, like it's just, I don't know, Berlioz, we know he was going through it, but that John goes. Love it. Okay, let's move on. A piece that has you in your feelings. Shout out to Drake.
A piece that always puts me in my feelings is a Bottesini Elegy. And Bottesini, of course, you know, he's somebody for us. He wrote a lot of bass music. He's a bass player. But this song, like, I be listening to that and I be like, yo, are you good? Like, who hurt you?
Listen, we already know Tchaikovsky can turn a melody.
Right. I be like, who hurt you? Like,
I said Tchaikovsky. Hi.
Well,
I meant Bottesini.
Well, you know, I agree.
You agree anyway. I meant Bottesini because I don't know much about Bottesini, but you know, I hear dude's melodies sometimes.
Yeah, like he, like, you know, real composer for bass, because you know some people would just be slapping any kind of notes together and calling it whatever. Shout out to classical concertos, but no, I'm just kidding.
It's so cloudy in here.
I'm just kidding, but I just gotta play this for y'all because they was not doing therapy back then. They clearly weren't.
Clearly not.
Because this.
That's why I can't just believe that's a bass.
That octave, like that, if I were playing this, that'd probably be the part where I start tearing up. Like that octave. Okay, me tearing up because I missed the shift.
I'm just so tired of you. You're just so exhausted.
I'm telling you, they be having us out here in the stratosphere, but
that's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Like this piece I'm not even trying to touch until I'm like like, I know I could play this piece. Like, you know, if I worked on it, like I work on anything else, it's not like I'm like, oh, this piece is easy for me. Like,
right.
It's not
No, I know
an
what
easy
you're
piece.
saying.
But like, I want this like to be just to live up to the
Right.
recording that I listen to. Obviously,
Right.
I listen to Joe Corey, and what other recording would I be listening to?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, I will link that in the description. All these pieces are gonna be linked in the description. But this John,
It's pretty.
right? Thank you, sister.
Okay, so a piece that gets me my feelings, no matter how happy I am, whatever. Like Tchaikovsky 5, second movement. First of all, the string set it up real thick, right? It's just very like scalar. It's all stepwise, whatever. And then the violas take over in the middle. You know, so I'm here for that. And then all the way from the distance, you just hear da 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 da, and it's like I start to tear up immediately because it's like first of all, it's just so simple, but it's so like sad and distant. He's using the French horn, so this French horn to me in this context already sounds far away because you're at the back of the orchestra.
Right.
Your bell is going. You know what I'm saying? So it just sounds so distant. And then, you know, misery loves company. So when the other instruments join to go off of it, it's just so sad. And he gives you a little hope in the middle section when it like picks up, but it's just like that opening just has you like you're like weeping.
Right. They got the manuscript for this. Is there teardrops on the score?
Right. Has to be.
For
and
real.
you be listening to this and like, Tchaikovsky was really out here writing music. Like, we just do not deserve him.
For real.
Like, just, he was really right. Like, how do you even think of that?
For real. Whenever I hear that, like, just like, I'll be like, okay, my tear ducts.
You're right.
Seething.
Right. Like, I can't even.
What? So, like, you know that gif from that video, Super Hot Fire, where the guy got his hands on his face, like, yo, that's me every time I hear that. I can't even go. Imagine us at a live concert.
I feel like it would be best. I've played Tchaikovsky 5 twice, right? But I haven't seen it performed. I think that's for the best. Because if I'm in that audience, that second movement come on, and I hear the horn, I'm like, what? Like, me standing up, hands on hip.
Or me pointing to the horn player, like, y'all hear this?
And everyone's like, yes, we.
Right.
But y'all hear it.
Right. Y'all hearing it, but y'all not hearing it.
And I'm over here in the middle of Orchestra Hall, downtown Chicago. And I'm like, what?
Because, like, ain't nobody just listening.
Right.
To that.
You
like,
don't just passively, like, to me, I don't know. I stand. It's like, I'm over there like, oh, you did that in the middle of the movement.
Right.
So I just feel like it would be best if I just enjoy this particular symphony from the comfort of my home.
It just don't make no sense.
It don't, like, and I know, like, y'all probably be like, sis, and that's fine. Keep that energy. I'm saying for me, like, that, the simplicity of it, like, there's so much angst in it. And then also you pair it with Tchaikovsky's personal story. And you're like, yo, like, my dude was really going through it.
When it's my time to go and I'm at them pearly gates, first person I'm embracing.
Right. Big hug.
Right. For real.
Like, you
Grandma,
good?
I'll see you later, but.
Right. Like, yo.
But Tchaikovsky, okay, over here.
Okay, God letting you and be like, all right, thanks.
Right.
Tchaikovsky.
Right. Nice to meet you, God. Anyway. Well, I'll buy you a coffee later.
Right.
But.
Like, nah. Like, man. Okay. Let's move on. A piece that embodies you the most. Here you go. It's about to be
No, I have a really weird piece, but it's the Hindemith bass sonata, which I don't even know what made me start learning that piece, but I was out here like literally every movement that I ever that I started. There's 3 movements. There's arguably, like, some people say there's 4, but there's really 3, and then the third one's kind of split. But every time I learned a new movement of that piece, I'd be like, what even is this? You know? And then I learned it and I'm like, oh, this makes perfect sense to me now. And that's kind of the piece. That's probably the hardest I've worked on anything ever, because that piece is just so difficult. And I'll never forget, I had a performance of that piece in studio class where after my teacher came up to me and shook my hand and was like, I think you found your personality piece. Aww. And I was just like, what? Like, that's so weird to me that it's Hindemith sonata. Like, because I don't know, it's just weird. It doesn't seem to embody me, but I feel like I connect with that piece a lot. Like, it just fits for me. And like even after that same performance, somebody in my studio who is just a great bass player. So you know, there's people whose opinions you value a lot.
Right.
Texted me and was like, sis. Well, she didn't say that.
No,
she was like,
we know what she said.
She was like, you own that piece.
Aww,
like okay. And every other piece I play owns me, but that one piece.
Okay.
That one piece.
Shut up.
I got that one. That like, I don't know. I've never worked so hard, and then that kind of and then I felt that reward from it. Not on my jury, but you know, that's neither here nor there.
We're gonna leave this topic of the jury alone because please respect my privacy at this time.
I'm interested to hear your piece.
My piece is that I think embodies me the most is Schumann's Adagio and Allegro.
Okay.
I'm gonna play a little bit of it, just the opening, and then you can skip to the middle part too because it gets lit.
Okay.
Yo, we just do not deserve to be a... What? She's so good. Yeah, skip to me.
It sound like Schumann.
You sound like Schumann, don't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Wait. Damn. Okay.
Right.
So
I didn't know that was Katie performing.
Are you gonna lie?
At her 8th grade recital.
You are hot trash.
Right, that was back.
Hot trash. Anyway,
her middle school recital.
Can we? Are you done? That was to be a Zimmerman, Viola God. We don't deserve. How you turn your stick like that, sis? Like she wouldn't let no sound out. Meanwhile, my sound be leaking like an old faucet.
Oh wow.
The way she turned her stick? Nah, sis been here. Wow, I forgot how much I stand for her. Okay, so the reason why I picked this piece, I played it once, never performed it, and I think it embodies me for a lot of reasons. The first one is like, I feel like everyone struggles in life, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like going through what I've been through to get to this point, I think it really embodies like the slow opening. You're so annoying. At the slow opening of like trying to like come into myself, trying to like be confident in myself, being like, girl, you are the way you are, you're sickening, whatever. Not a sickening viola, we're still getting there, but just as a person, everything I've been through, and then also like I think I'm lit. And when it comes into the second part, I can't sing, so don't at me. That part, you know, I'm a little lit. I like that part. It turns up, and then that opening part comes back again in a different key with more strife. So it's like 4 or 5 sharp. So it's like really thick, really difficult to play in tune. So it's like life comes and goes at you, whatever, but you still come out on top, you still come out lit, you still have a good time, God is able, whatever. So I feel like just my personal experiences, like I think this piece embodies me the most, like going through stuff in life but still figuring out how to smile through it, figuring out how to get through it. I feel like that's definitely a piece that I resonate with the most. And also when we're talking about Schumann and his different, because he was a editor for some music journal in Germany, and he's like these 2 like character type things that he used when he would publish works. Florestan and I cannot say this. Eusebius, do not at me. Eusebius, there we go. I got there. Right. Eusebius, Florestan and Eusebius, and Florestan is like the fiery, quick-witted, whatever. And I think a lot of people know that side about me. They know I'm piping up. They know whatever, but. Meanwhile, Eusebius is like kind of reserved and quiet. And if you really knew me, you know, that's like really like who I am. I'm a low-key introvert. I like to keep to myself. I like to mind my business. So you don't think I'm an introvert?
What?
I'm such an introvert.
You're the loudest person I know.
You can be a loud introvert.
Not really.
You can be.
But you're personable. You be out here. She always on the phone with somebody. She always out here.
Okay.
Social events up.
And then
I'm the wazoo.
Okay, and I'm also exhausted when I get back.
Anybody would be
okay.
As much as you be doing.
I don't do anything. Do not let it's propaganda.
Meanwhile, we can't record next week because you all weekend booked.
It's sorority season, sis. Okay,
that's still something. That's still an activity. It's not like that's nothing.
Okay, March, I'm gonna be in the house like I always am.
Okay,
like,
all right, really noted.
But I'm definitely an introvert. I just feel like I am. No, okay, you gonna take note of me in a social situation. I want you to just watch carefully. I keep to myself sometimes. I get tired sometimes. I be in my own zone. I'm in my zone. I cannot believe you don't think I'm an introvert.
Nobody does. You're the only person that thinks you're an introvert. I'm offended as a true introvert for you to be. I'm not even just an introvert though. I'm a recluse.
See, nah, I'm not like that. Like I like to
don't appropriate my culture.
Shut up. I have friends. I like to talk to them. Yeah, but like in a social setting, I could be like
friends talking social setting.
Okay, last one because I cannot believe you're the introvert.
Are you kidding? There's literally nothing that you have ever done to indicate that you're an introvert.
Okay, next time we go out, you gonna see.
I'm not going to see.
I literally keep to myself a lot. And when I'm with you, okay, of course we piping up, but like that's different.
All right, sis, let's move on. We don't have to agree to disagree on this.
No, we're gonna agree to agree because
I don't agree with you.
Hey, and not agreeing with something about me. You can't disagree with something about me.
Yes, I can. I'm saying how I perceive you. Like what?
I'm such like.
Sometimes it's hard to see when you in it.
Wow.
I'm just thinking in comparison to introverts that I know.
I feel like we're gonna revisit this because I feel like I could be, for example, like when I went to Houston a couple months ago, right? We went out and my friend was like, "Meanwhile, you at the end of the table not talking to nobody." I could be like that. I'm like that a lot. Just minding my business. I'm still out. I'm having a good time. I'm kiki.
That alone is unlike an introvert.
Anyway,
it is.
All right, last one. A piece that changed your life.
Okay, so a piece that's changed my life. I didn't come up with a recording of it. I have a recording up here, but I haven't listened to it, so I'm not gonna play it because I don't know what it sounds like.
Right, meanwhile, somebody's Meemaw's grandchild.
Right,
middle school graduation.
But this piece is called "I Have a Dream" by Charles Dickerson, who is a conductor of the Inner City Youth Orchestra of Los Angeles, which was an orchestra that I was in. I think I joined in 2013. Nah, it had to be before that. I don't know. When I was a sophomore in high school, I know that when I joined Viola, and Mr. Dickerson is the founder and conductor and artistic director and all that. And so he sometimes he'll like it's a majority black orchestra, and sometimes he'll like arrange different pieces like by different black artists and whatever. But this time he orchestrated I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. For orchestra and chorus. So it's and I do not like playing with choir, but this piece, it like literally that like there's nothing like the feeling I get when I play this in an orchestra full of black people, choir full of black people. It's the most empowering thing, and this is the reason why I know a lot of that speech by heart now, because like, oh my god, it's just such a grand piece. Like, and that's my fit. Like every year on MLK weekend, they do a concert where of course this is the centerpiece of that concert. I never miss that concert. I don't care. I'm like, cause it usually falls on right before I go back to school from break. I guess I'm missing my first class because I'm playing this concert. Like, there ain't nothing like it. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna tell him that because I don't think I've ever told him like how much I love that piece. Like, and he really just, how you even orchestrate that? Like, he just had the speech and just wrote a whole full orchestra and chorus part on that. Like, it's just so empowering and just, I don't know. I'm gonna listen to this recording. And I don't remember, I might be in this recording, I don't know, but I'll link it in the description if I'm feeling it. But
oh, that's so cute, special. Okay, so a piece that changed my life, I kind of have two because I couldn't decide. So I've said before that when I first got to my undergrad at Illinois State University, I struggled a lot because I thought I was I think that's hard about being a high school musician is that, especially as a violist, is that if you're a competent violist, you're gonna be among the best, if not the best. So I was the best violist at my high school from my sophomore year. So I went into ISU like, you can't touch me. What I really got to learn, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, because I had like no idea how this world worked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't really. People were in youth orchestra and they were taking lessons and had like competitive studios, and I was taking lessons, but I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff, throwing shot.
When you told me that,
can you imagine my teacher let me throw shot put in high school? Like, I was like a regular kid in high school. Like, I did the viola stuff, but like I did a lot of other things as well. So I wasn't. It's not like I didn't take it seriously, but it was just like I wasn't in youth orchestra because youth orchestra's on Sunday. My mama ain't missing church. Take me to youth orchestra. Mm-hmm. So I just whatever. So I struggled a lot, and I was in my feelings a lot of the time my freshman year because I was just so terrible. I was just so bad. And my sophomore year started to look up. So we have seating auditions every semester for orchestra at ISU, at least when I was there. So the piece that we were going to play on the third cycle of the year was Brahms 1. So I got my little excerpt. I'm like, all right, we're going to learn this thing. We're going to do whatever. And went in the audition and killed it, right? I'm talking about like...
Set the tone for the rest of your career.
Are you done? Okay, that was a peak of my career.
Wow.
So, excuse me. So, killed the audition. And I don't mean kill the audition like I got first chair. But I went from last chair out of 10 to getting fifth chair. So much to the point that like, you would think like when you play these auditions, like your teacher can hear whose viola is doing what and who's what. And I just feel there's no way. I mean, like you hear a student, whatever, and I just got like a new viola, whatever. So I was still trying to figure that out. So, so even when the screen went up, my teacher was like, yo, had no idea it was Katie. Wow. And it was like, I was like, okay, maybe I could do this. Like maybe, and it's like, it hasn't been smooth sailing by any means. Even that semester, excuse me, even that semester, people that I passed trying to outplay you when you're in that seat. But I walked right to my fifth chair seat, and that's probably the biggest accomplishment that I've had thus far. Like I can do this. I can play the viola. I can play it well. I don't crack under pressure. And like, have I cracked under pressure since then? Of course, mock auditions or whatever. But that was like, I was right there playing Brahms 1, and that piece, like, and then when the concert came there, especially when the viola's got that melody, it was counter melody, and the first one, I was on the front of my seat like, I did this and I'm gonna play this.
Viola out to the crowd.
FO was going straight out. No, you gonna hear this little viola, because that's back when I had my little baby viola. I was like, nah, y'all hear this. Listen up. So that's probably one of my that piece, like, for sure changed my life. And then coupled with that, the reason why I couldn't pick is the Egmont Overture. So in this same period, that same semester, my conducting teacher, Dr. Block, scared the life out of me. I swear he didn't like me. If I told him that, I never mentioned it when he was here a couple weekends ago. But if I told him that, he'd be like, that's not true. But because he's the type that will come for you in orchestra, be like, whatever, like, he will single you out or whatever. And I was like, I'll be rolling my eyes. I was chewing gum. Like, I did not want to be there. Yeah,
I was sticking to gum in the back of your viola. Saving it for later.
I was going through it my freshman year. So that same semester with Brahms, that's the semester that he let me into the conducting studio, and I had no reason. I think when I tell people, like, I studied conducting, they're like, oh yeah, whatever, we all took conduct. I'm like, no. I was in the studio. I had no business being in the studio, but I was in the studio because I asked him to join the studio, scared as heck, shaking when I asked him. But I'm like, I want to join the conducting studio. He was like, yeah, I'd love to have you. And I thought he was just talking on his neck. And then I got the email the week before the semester started, like, conducting meets from 11 to 1 on Thursdays. So I was in there with grad students, and the conversation was normally over my head because I'm talking about I'm in there with master students. I'm just a little sophomore or whatever. And the first piece that you have to conduct with the orchestra is Egmont. And that was like so terrifying for me because I wasn't a good musician yet. So to be a conductor is more, you have to know everyone's part all the same. You should be able to sing the second bassoon line you know, all this stuff, and the conversation was over my head, and I did it. I conducted it. I still have that video. First time getting up in front of an orchestra conducting Egmont, and it's like the 180 from like when I first got to ISU. That was like that semester was like my like of 2013. That was like starting an ascent. Like maybe I could do this. Like maybe I could be a violist, you know, or whatever, you know. So that was like a huge turning point. Definitely changed my life for real. So I can't pick.
Okay, all thoughtful.
All right, and we're moving on.
Well, I just want to say, if people want, like, if somebody who's listening wants to like specify a piece that fits any of the criteria that, you know, we were just talking about, let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Email your thoughts or your specific experience to classicallybypodcast@gmail.com or comment on the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Right. And we're gonna move on.
Very special episode today.
Yo, this is a little bit more fun than our normal like whatever, but I'm excited for this because this is gonna be stupid.
Right. Get things off my chest.
Right. We just, you know, bring all your woes into the storehouse because I have plenty. Today we're talking about pet peeves in orchestra.
Right.
What are some of your pet peeves?
Well, one of the things I'm gonna have to come for your section real quick.
Off the bat?
Right, yeah.
We can't use this one?
Well start. I mean, I can start with something else.
Go ahead. Now I want to hear what you got to say about the violas because y'all couldn't really play this whole orchestra thing without us. Okay, sandwich with no meat. Well, no tofu.
Yeah, right.
Okay, sandwich, peanut butter and jelly. No peanut butter, no jelly. What you gonna do without violas? You can't do anything. You can't. And you shan't.
Well, you can do some things. Meanwhile, for opera rotation, they never have violas.
Because they pick these raggedy little operas with no with no viola part. That's why no one plays them.
I actually should have waited to say this until you said one of yours, because this comes directly for you, but not directly for you. Wow. But like it just happens to apply to your
own people. Go ahead, sis. Now I'm sitting up straight.
Right. It happens to apply to you. So we come to, like we were talking about on last episode, for the nature of my instrument. I'm at rehearsal a little bit earlier than some. You and your crew roll up 2 minutes before we all set up, all comfortable, warming up, Y'all come here. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Excuse me. All up underneath, all between my legs, through my bass, up under my scroll. All I'm like, y'all couldn't have got here earlier?
No, because for what? First of all, secondly, it's an no bass sectional.
No.
So you can't be like, of course we're gonna be like, excuse me. And if y'all want so big, then we wouldn't.
That's not our fault.
It's stay in your section. Y'all act like y'all need all that dummy room.
We do. That's one of my other pet peeves. We do. You're not just setting up room for 8 people. It's 8 people plus 8 basses.
Okay, well, first of all, you ain't playing no full-size basses. Like, you are going to be okay. That's the first thing.
Nobody plays the full-size basses.
That's what I'm saying.
Anybody does.
I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Three-quarter and 7/8 bass are still huge.
And that's
need room. We need room to bow.
And that's fine.
Y'all bow up like sideways.
And you know what?
We need
that's perfectly fine. I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's very loud, but I hear what you're saying. All I'm saying is we also have our little area, and y'all come. We're not gonna get there 20 minutes before rehearsal for what?
Get there 20 minutes before. Get there 15 minutes, or go around.
Go around where? Through the violin section. So we gotta.
Y'all knocking my stand over.
Anybody knocking your stand over?
Yes, people are knocking my stand over.
You don't need a 6x6 area to play the bass.
For that, I didn't ask. First of all, you don't know what I need. Start there. Okay, that's disbanding the podcast. Due to unreconcilable differences.
I'm saying, like, I hear what you're saying,
but they be up under us. Oh, excuse me, bumping on my bass, all through my stand turned sideways, hitting on so and so bass. Like,
first of all, I don't know why you couldn't through the bass section, because you can just see, that's different. Because you really could just cut through. You know how there's a little break between like the tubas and the bass. Just go right there. But you know, people do a lot.
They do so much,
and that's different. I don't do that. I always go behind the bass section. When I'm gonna come through the bass section, first of all, what you're not gonna do is touch my instrument. When people like bump your instrument, pet peeve.
Right.
Like, you're not finna, this ain't no thing from the Dollar Tree, sis. You bumping my instrument, talking about, oh, I'm sorry. You better be sorry. Right. Now I gotta scratch in my junk because you want to be extra. Nah.
They be bustling through, hustle and bustle. Like, nah. Get to rehearsal on time.
Right, that is on time before the A. Sis, I go brat, brat, brat when I take my viola out.
Okay,
viola.
No, okay, hands all cold.
And that's fine.
Viola out of tune.
Right, that's what the A is for.
Okay, you don't pre-tune?
For what?
Just in case, like sometimes if your instrument goes dummy out of tune.
My viola don't go dummy out of tune. Okay, sis in the next room hearing that.
Right.
My viola doesn't go out of tune. Especially like I'm usually, if I'm going, I've played that day. Because rehearsal's always in the afternoon. Well, it's rare. It's rare that I haven't touched my instrument all day.
You know why basses go out of tune? Because violas come by
anyway
up against them.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when you playing your concerto in orchestra. I don't want to hear your raggedy rendition of Mendelssohn. I care nothing to hear it.
Favorite violin concerto. I had to not.
Are you joking?
Mendelssohn?
Oh, we got to talk about this later because I just...
Yuck.
I see you so differently now.
No, I can tell you why. There was, in my youth orchestra, there was a guy who he never learned the whole thing. He only knew that first little part, and literally every single orchestra rehearsal. You see? And we rehearsed for like 4 to 7 hours on Saturdays.
And you see where we came right back where we do not practice your concerto. That's exactly Meanwhile, we get to the development of the piece and you sweating. Practice that.
I like the third movement of that concerto, though.
Oh, it's lit.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you feel like you must play your concerto here. It's just, and I'm talking about don't play your excerpts. Just if you be like, what should I do? You could play the music on the stand, right. Or you could be on your phone, or you could just sit there.
Right, play a scale, do a little.
Right, but when people doing all this junk and no one cares about, and now everything out of tune because you're trying to show out. No one cares about your raggedy Elgar, sis. Like junk makes me. When I tell you want to make my bones itch in a special kind of way, go ahead, play Walton. Go ahead. And that's why that third stay out of tune.
All right.
What? Okay, opening that piece on a whim, on a wish. Nah, y'all dummy annoying.
One thing that you said in the last one, you talk about people bumping on your viola. One of my biggest pet peeves about, and people do this with basses, is when people walk around my neck, when they step over the neck or something. And one thing, I'm very, very conscious of when I am in someone's way. I will never, ever put my bass down in a place where somebody has to walk around it if I don't absolutely have to. So if somebody's walking around my bass, stepping over the neck, all that, is because it means that they didn't have to do that, because I'm not going to put my bass in a walkway. Right. I'm not doing that. So if you do that, then I'm on your neck. Because one time when I was in high school, tell me why I had my bass. I always put my bass down, bridge towards the wall, the way it ought to be. And some dude kicking a soccer ball kicked it into the back of my bass.
And when I tell you I was going to jail that day, because first of all, I don't play with people's instruments. And also, I'm a very clumsy person by nature. So I've never in my life, in my recollection, ever stepped over somebody's instrument. Because I will trip.
It's rude.
And it's rude.
Why you over here playing tap dance all around my scroll?
Right. Like, what? I don't understand. People are just...
Now my peg's on the floor.
People are just... It bothers me.
They're not conscious of it. And then, like, they just don't care. And then when they treat it like it's a piece of furniture... I remember talking to somebody, they come up to me and now they lean on my
lean on your bass?
Yes, it's like sideways on the ground and they lean on it like it's a table. I'm like, that's not a table. And they're like, oh, sorry. Nah, it's not a table. It's not a coffee table.
Yo, people are mad inconsiderate.
That is so rude.
I don't.
What? Like, nah.
Going off of your violas coming in or whatever. When the A starts early.
The A don't ever start early,
No,
sis.
Because let me tell you, sis, because you over here, you want to come for me. So I'll never forget.
Early.
I will never forget, because if you know me, you know I'm a late person. God is still working on me. God.
How long you been doing that?
I'm a very late person. I'm a very late person. Listen, 2019 gonna be my year. And so I'm usually coming in orchestra with little time to spare, right? So I get there one day. Orchestra starts at 3:45. I'm there at 3:43. I walk in to Kodak. A going. I'm like, that's weird. Why Verone starting early? My stand partner, old Snake, she was like, she's the orchestra librarian. She's like, oh no, I got you. I go look at that junk the next day. She would mark me late. This is the thing, and this is a goal for me in life. If you tell me, because I'm a late person, if you tell me one time, I'm not going to be ready before that. And maybe one day when I get like all the way.
Downbeat is at 3:45, sis.
What?
Downbeat.
Nah, A.
I mean, yeah, but still.
And that's fine.
Still
like 3:45 and a half. That's fine. We can play the downbeat. But if it's 3:43, I got 2 minutes. It's gonna take me 30 seconds to get my viola out the case, and then I don't pre-tune, so I'm waiting patiently for the A. Do not start ahead of time. That goes for anything until I get my like.
Wrong, sis.
What?
Clock could have been wrong.
iPhone don't lie, sis. We are on a universal clock, and I ain't set my no. She did me dirty. Do not start stuff early. If you tell me 6:45, don't come at 6:40 waiting for me to be ready and be in your feelings. My friend did this to me one time. He's like, I'm gonna be there at 7. He called me at 6:50. You ready? No, cause you said 7. That goes for anything.
No, that would get on my nerves for rehearsals. Not for orchestra's a little bit different because there's an A. But like if I'm a chamber rehearsal, and I say like, and we schedule a chamber rehearsal for 7:30, and you walk in at 7:30. I'm be looking at you sideways.
And I normally walk in at 7:30. I walk into class 7:30. I walk in to teach at 7:30.
Class is one thing, but like if it's a rehearsal where like downbeat is at this time,
I'm working on it. You know, I tarry with tardy, so so we guys working on it.
Because you like, well maybe that's because me, you know,
and it's the nature of your instrument. I think I'm spoiled. I literally take my feel out the cloth, put my shoulder rests on, tighten my bow. That's literally, I've never done more. I've never done more.
You gotta account for it. Are there gonna be stands in your room? Probably not. You know, like there's just certain things. That's why like here, I'm outside the door, you know, ready.
And also, I'm also, the main problem with me is that I'm a person that like, I think I can accomplish more than I can in a allotted time slot. When I tell you 1 week,
Wonder Woman,
I was going somewhere and I was 15 minutes late. And it was to teach because let me tell you. So I got up that day. I was laying around all day and I was like, all right, I got an hour. I could wash my hair. I'm gonna iron these clothes. I'm gonna do all these things. I got an hour. I could do this bet. I got 4B hair. Which hair am I washing in an hour? And I was like, no.
Hours.
I was like, nah, sis, we're just gonna do a wash and go. It's gonna be detangle. And then my time that I do it is so unrealistic. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna detangle in 10 minutes. Detangle what? 10 minutes? Detangle the tundra in 10 minutes.
It went straight.
So I think like I do stuff like that. So I got orchestra rehearsal at 3:45. I know it takes me 5 minutes to walk to Eastman. Then so now I'm at 3:40. I know it takes me 30 seconds to put my shoes on and get myself in order. I need lip gloss, whatever. So now I'm at 3:35.
Priorities upside down.
So that means if I'm practicing from 3 to 3:35. And then we got 10 minutes to get to Kodak. That's the way my brain works. I'm trying to maximize my time. But usually, not usually, like 3 out of 10 times something's going to go wrong.
I have an exercise for you. Whatever amount of time that you think you have, just start with adding 5 minutes of cushion. Just 5 minutes is not a lot of time. 5 minutes goes.
Yeah, so what's the point of adding 5 minutes?
My next pet peeve is called Katie.
What? Wow, you suck. Okay, let's do a couple more because we've been at this forever. I said that one. Okay, this is a teaching pet peeve.
I was just about to ask. You got some of those?
Okay, so one teaching pet peeve that I have is if I tell you to do something and you don't do it. This could mean several things. My orchestra got in their feelings with me on Monday with this because I was like, all right, I'm at 83. Y'all take 47 years to find 83. 83 is in a box. Rehearsal 83. It's in a box. We've been in the same piece for 10 minutes. Let's go. And then I'll be like, and they'll be like, oh, okay. You start at 82.
Sis.
If I tell you to I'm like, all right, y'all, let's do this. Stop playing, stop talking. You playing and talking.
Oh, that's
I'm like, these are not. And then you know what? I don't know why kids like me, because I'm very rude, right? So I'll be like, all right, happy Monday, y'all. Stop playing, stop talking. Y'all keep playing, y'all stop talking. I'm like, these are not difficult instructions. I'm speaking English.
I said that too. I've been like, I said it in English. I don't know why you
right. And they looking at me like,
because
you know,
that's so rude.
Do not play while I'm talking, because I might at your house, and then I might at your house talking, and I'm talking, interrupting you.
Right. I'm like, gonna have my vocal cords on the floor trying to talk over you playing. What?
And I know like educators will be like, it's not a dictatorship, blah blah blah. I'm like, listen, I know it's not a dictatorship. I joke around all the time. That's the thing. I think that's why kids don't know if they coming or going with me, because I'll joke around. I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna kiki, whatever, and that's fine as long as you listen to me. Right. Because what's gonna happen is in December when this concert comes up, and I've been too nice to you. Now we both looking crazy, mainly me, because you kids. Who they gonna blame when it's supposed to be a D minor, we an E major? Mm-hmm. Who they gonna blame? So it's like, when you don't listen to me when we're talking, I'm not trying. I know the authority thing is weird, and we're trying to balance this out, but you gonna listen to me when and then whatever, and the kids who be cutting up in the back, it'd be the main ones who can't play, cutting up in the back. I'll be looking at them like, we don't want a problem. I'm like, you don't want a problem with me. That's not, and they be looking like, and I'm like, little boy, it's not
little boy. He's not even little boy, little boy.
Like, and I'm not talking out of turn, piping up. I've acted this way when administrators came in my room. I don't care. All right, I've had assistant principals sit in my room, and I act the same way.
Are you piping up on them as well?
Like, I'll be like, it is not I who you want a problem with. Right. And then in the same realm, you don't do what I say. This is like with private students. You don't do what I tell you. I'm like, all right, so I need a C major scale. I need a C major arpeggio. And I need you to learn like the first half of this Bach thing. You come back, a quarter of the Bach is learned. You did half the arpeggios. You know, Miss Brown, I was like really busy. You weren't busy. You weren't. If you like, when kids say that, first of all, you're not gonna clown me. I've been in high school. When I was a senior in high school, I was taking straight APs. I threw shot. I was in the musical. Blah blah blah. Did all that junk, and I still had time to practice. AP classes, especially like I went to a suburban school.
Not all of us are geniuses.
I'm not a genius, no. And if you go ask Mr. Sue right there in that calculus class, he'd be like, Katie, okay, basic algebra. But you're not busy. If you are not on tour with your 4 brothers, then you're not busy.
All right,
you're not. So you come in here, I'm supposed to feel pity for you because you got 3 little worksheets and soccer practice. And nah, and like I said,
so rude.
And like I said, I'm rude. So I say what I say what everyone's thinking in the room. I'm like, this is not where it needs to be. This is not acceptable. I'm like, and then this is where they get their feelings. I'll be like, so tell me what I have to do to get you to where you need to be. It's like, and if you want to send your kids to me, send them here. Like, you know what? My studio's open. The doors of the church are open.
Your studio deserted.
That's why I said I don't know. Maybe it's because I do care about my kids, whatever. But it's like, if you do what I tell you to do, we're going to be great. And if you don't, we're going to have a problem. And you don't want a problem with me. I will hurt your feelings. Like,
your teacher's license was revoked.
Okay, someone reported me to the. You know what? You don't know what state I got my certification in.
She got it in. No, I'm just kidding. You told everybody where you went to school.
That don't mean nothing. I could have grown up in Michigan.
She didn't.
Lansing. You know where I grew up? Nevada. Wyoming.
You said where you grew up on the first episode.
All right, my third pet peeve is fake friends.
I wonder why. You don't have none of those.
You have another pet peeve, sis? And then we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, I got one more. That's been weighing heavy on my soul.
There you go.
Every time in orchestra. I don't know if this is a problem in other string sections, and you can tell me, but it has a unique, terrible sound when bass players do it. When pizzicato in there, that don't mean just do anything you want. You can, like, and I know that pizzicato technique is not something that we focus on. Like, even I don't like focus on that, but context clues will tell you that when you're playing some soft, tender, lyrical movement of a Tchaikovsky symphony, you shouldn't be doing jazz pits. This is not your jazz combo. Y'all be plunk, plunk. Y'all just think it's pizzicato, so y'all just do whatever. It's a different motion. There's a difference between jazz pits and orchestral pits. And then there's differences between different orchestral pits. Y'all can't just plunk. Like, it sounds so bad. When everyone else is being so pretty and just all this vibrato and then on a downbeat. What?
Well, see, composers don't really have us doing us dirty with like pits like that. You know, so we don't. I'm not gonna speak on behalf of all in the orchestral repertoire. Like, we obviously pits, but I just haven't come into contact with that like recently. Just because like Viola's at Eastman know how to act. Viola's at ISU know how to act when it comes to ain't nobody but my kids. This ain't no hold down, sis.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think
they're kids, so that's different.
Well,
but meanwhile, they say Eastman. I guess they piping up.
I just don't understand how you don't care how that, like, you don't listen to the things that you play. You don't hear that and you're like, this sounds so out of place.
And that goes for everything. Your vibrato all wide, like that goes for anything. Like,
it does not sound good. Like, it's like literally, I don't get how people play stuff and don't listen to what they sound like. Like, what? And then there's one thing, I get mistakes happen. Mistakes happen in orchestra. Whatever. Something that happens with pizzicato, when you pluck and you accidentally do Bartok pits, whatever happens. Sometimes you overestimate, you know.
Right.
Then you do it 5 times in a row. Now I have a problem. Now I have a problem. Because I am not one. I think it's rude as hell. We talked about this. It's rude as hell to be turning around looking at people when they make a mistake.
Because you're not going to look at me when I'm making a mistake.
I would never, ever do that to anybody.
If my stand partner, we beefing now.
Right.
Like,
right. I would never do that to somebody because you know what you did. I'm not your teacher. I'm not
right.
Here, you know, like everybody you hear, I trust that you're here and you know, like yourself and, you know, you'll take care of it. I'm not going to be craning my neck to look at you. Even if you make the mistake multiple times, I probably still won't do that, but I will be feeling some type of way and you make the same mistake 6 times and don't fix it.
Right. Because
now you're just not listening. Like, but nah, that turning around mess, that's dumb rude. I had a stand partner that used to do that too.
What?
He was just terrible. We can talk about him another day, but he was like a terrible person.
And you know, I would say something because I don't care about saying nothing. I don't care about hurting nobody's feelings. I just don't.
Right.
Like, I would say something because you're not my teacher.
Exactly.
You're not paying my tuition to be here. Exactly.
This stand partner was not at Eastman, by the way, just so people know.
But I'm not here to study with you. You're not signing this check.
So
it's like, you're not going to, and you know, I have a problem with people speaking to me any type of way, and you're not like, you know, don't let the stature fool you. Pipe up. Kicking your shins.
All right.
Well, my viola teacher in undergrad said small but mighty. You know, people meet me and be like, "Wow, you dummy short." I'm like, okay. And meanwhile, you breathing all that thin air up there.
All right.
Okay.
You got everybody's farts in your.
Let's move on.
Air fresh up here, sis. I'm not even that much taller than you.
And scene. Okay. Okay, so this week's Black Excellence.
Right.
One of my personal faves. I love him so much.
Right, of course.
It's George Taylor. He's a professor of viola here at Eastman. And I have so much respect for Mr. Taylor. Like, he's one of the kindest, most knowledgeable people. I remember I took a trial lesson with him and I was like, oh, this is about to be good. Like, cause I'm like, he's Black and like, I've never had a Black teacher. I've never seen a Black man in this space. Cause it's not only, there are Black professors of music. We talked about, earlier talking about Juliet White Smith at Ohio State. She's Black, teaches viola. So there are Black people in these spaces, but it's also like the fact that you're at Eastman, and it's like, it was like the most incredible thing for me to see. Like, yo, if I get into this school, I'm sitting with a Black man. What? And I took my trial lesson, and I you know, I say whatever. So he's used some big old word, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. He's just so knowledgeable. He just knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Like honestly, one of the best, if not the best teacher I've had so far. And I'm not just gassing him. Like, I'll go to him with a problem and he'll be like, all right, well, let's take this apart or whatever and move it through. And he listens really well and he knows how to handle you as a student. He doesn't yell, he doesn't put you down, but it's like what you need. His career is very impressive. First of all, he started playing viola quite late. He played violin for a while, and then he switched to viola. He not for a while. I think he started violin when he was like 14, something like that. And I had to talk to him again to get the exact age, but pretty late, like somewhere in high school. And then he switched to viola around the age of 21, and just skyrocketed from there. I'm talking about subbing with the Met. He taught for a long time at Duke. He did that from 1979 to 1986, and he was in the CMP quartet at Duke University, and then he came to Eastman after that. And he still plays and performs. He does a viola intensive. That's where I first met Mr. Taylor. He has a viola intensive here at Eastman. So he's still very involved. He sat on the jury for Sphinx. He sat on the board for the American Viola Society. So he's really involved, and also like just one of my top favorite people, and I just love him so much. So that's our Black Excellence this week. As always, if you have suggestions for Black Excellence, please email them to us at classicallyblackpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear it. Like I said last week, it does not have to be performers. It could be teachers, educators, classroom teachers, general music teachers. This Black excellence, doing the good work of the people through classical music. So before we go, sis, you have a piece that we forgot about that's a bop, or we want to get out of here?
I think that we gave them more than enough pieces.
I think so too.
To listen to during our intermission. So
I think so. Thank you for listening, joining us again this week. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all Classically Black Podcast. All that stuff is in the description box below. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.